Hello, everybody. The DUI guy is back, and we are here with another episode, I suppose I can call it, of our Saturday live stream. How's everybody doing today? Sorry, I've been MIA for a few weeks. I simply had some family issues, as I said, that I had to deal with. It's much better now. So thank you all who were concerned. I read your messages on my posts, and I really appreciate all the kind words you all have said. It really means a lot. It's been tough, but we're getting through it. It's just one of those things you have to deal with in life, you know. So moving on. I hope that you all are having a wonderful Saturday. Thank you, Johnny. Hey, Flotog. Today we're going to be talking about a very interesting topic. Oh my goodness. I somehow, on complete accident, since you all know I don't do this very often at all, considering that the last live stream I did, I think was January 9th was my last live stream. Yeah, January 9th. The title of this video, as you all have seen, is new mask mandates that are going into effect. And literally, today, they start taking effect on Tuesday, a lot of them, and the articles are flooding. They're all, this is very fresh. So, hey, Nick. Hey, Jacqueline. Thanks, Michael. I appreciate that, brother. And all right. So yeah, today is going to be very interesting. So you all are in for a treat. Let's do our intro real quick. There's really not all that much to discuss. We're still approaching 20 million views, which I'm super stoked. We're at 18.2 million views as of right now. That's just wild. And we just hit 59,000 subs. So we're just this close to having 60,000 people, which is super exciting. I'm very excited. And I thank you guys so much, honestly. I'm humble and I have no words. So let's keep this train going, right? I do have some content that I told you is in the pipes that I am hogging for now. I released some of it in January, and that was absolutely insane what it did to my channel. So I'm being very greedy right now. So sorry. Not really, but you guys will get it. You guys will get it eventually. It's just a matter of time. And I am going to add the content probably next month. Teresa. I'm going to add this video probably next month, like sometime in February is probably going to be when I add the video. I haven't fully decided yet, but it's probably going to be sometime in February that I'm going to add the video. So you all have that to look forward to. It's going to be very exciting. But other than that, yeah, the current date when courts are supposed to reopen for jury trial purposes is still April the 1st. The consensus around the office and I think the general lawyer population is that it's probably going to get pushed back to at least June. So we're not going to have trials probably until the summer, which is really unfortunate. It's really upsetting. I have so many trials in the backlog. And I'm so rusty. The last trial I had was almost exactly a year ago, but it's okay. I think having the more trials I have, actually, the better it's going to be, because I'm just going to simply do them one by one. And I'm going to, I'm going to pick right back up where I left, as if I never left it in the middle of my first trial. I can already feel it. So I'm really excited. I think it's going to, I have like a week in June, or but the month of June, I have a trial set pretty much every single week in the month of June, I believe. Definitely 3 of them, if not all 4. So Very, very, very excited. So hopefully those will go through. We are, you know, we're basically in February. Monday is already February the 1st. So we will see how that goes. And of course, more trials means more content for you guys. So be on the lookout for that as again, I'm dragging my feet with what I have, and for good reason, because I mean, once I post it, I'm out. You know, it's very unfortunate. I did tell you guys there is one other video that I have in my back pocket, but I cannot post it yet. It's probably going to be one of the best videos I've ever posted. But unfortunately, the case is still pending, and there is no end in sight for this case. So we'll see how it plays out. But anyway, today we are talking about mask mandates and governor's orders. As the title suggests, of course, I'm going to be talking about almost, it sounds like, strictly mask mandates, but the two are so interlinked, there's absolutely no need to bring out in the topic itself that we're talking about executive orders. Mask mandates are part of executive orders. They're either executive on the state level, the federal level, or the local government level. But because Biden is now president of the United States, as of January the 20th, when he got inaugurated, he's the one that can dictate if he chooses to, which Trump chose not to. And Biden has created a national executive order pretty much on the next day. He wrote it down on the 21st, and they're all starting to go into effect. Like I said, the main one for transportation that I saw recently, the article that I read today, it was literally posted like a couple of hours ago. That article says that they're going into effect on Tuesday. Some of them have already gone into effect. Again, this is not a discussion of the status of the mask mandates all across the country. This is not what this talk is about. We're going to be talking about the legality of it. Of course, this is a law channel, not a channel for discussion of current events, although it is, of course, going to bleed into it. So if you recall, I did a live stream on executive orders and mask mandates sometime in April, I want to say, right when it was just very, very, very fresh, and it was a hot topic. I remember I had like 400 some odd people during the live currently watching it. I highly doubt it's going to be this intense today. Although it might be, again, depending on how many people are still interested in this, because this is new. This is starting to, it's not like resurfacing because it never left, basically, you know. But when things happen, they trigger the public in one way, shape, or form or another. And the public is going to be triggered by something like this. This is completely anticipated. This is completely normal and not out of the ordinary. So let's recall, and I already talked about this, so I'm going to keep this very brief. If you want a more in-depth discussion as to where the emergency powers have teeth, basically, where do they come from? They obviously come from the governors, but meaning where do they come from? Where is it written down? It's in the statutes. It's in the statutes. So if you look back, and I'm trying to find where this video is that I posted. I think it's this one, April 4th. That looks right. Can I get arrested and locked up if I don't follow the quarantine order of my governor due to COVID-19? I think that's the one. So I'm going to copy it and post it right here. That's the video. So if you're curious to go into more in-depth discussion, feel free to peruse that at your leisure. But at this time, we're just going to briefly go over it. So again, where do they come from? They come from the legislature. And who enacts them? The governors or the president. Your local mayor could do it. It all depends on the severity of the offense, or not the offense, but the severity of the natural disaster. Usually emergency orders are kind of enacted when there's a national disaster. We will briefly talk about, for example, Hurricane Katrina. It was one example where emergency orders were put into effect. But imagine some, I don't know, plague haunts a town, for instance. You do not need a governor's order of a protective order, an emergency order for the entire state. It's just this one town that is having the issue. So the mayor of that town could, in fact, issue an emergency order, and all will be well. You know, that the emergency order will have certain provisions that will allow the city to recover and move on with its life and growth. But because, of course, this pandemic has been something unprecedented for the last 100 years since, as we all talked, the Spanish flu, 1918, 1919, right after World War I. The interesting thing is the emergency orders have gone haywire. They've gone completely across the entire nation. And of course, like I said, with Biden issuing an executive order on the federal level, that is basically forcing the entire country to go into an emergency. They must follow these rules, right? Now, here's the kick. Here's the kick from this that I get. What happens if you don't follow them, right? What is going to happen to me as a person if I don't abide by them? So we'll talk about that briefly in a little bit. And I found this great article by the NCSL. It's the National Conference of State Legislatures. And it says, in times of war, disease, or other extraordinary conditions, there it is, right? War, disease, extraordinary conditions. And we know which one it is. Not war, it's disease, right? We got disease. Each state authorizes its governor to declare a state of emergency. Easy stuff. Once an emergency has been declared, executive powers expand until the emergency ends. So basically, the governor gets more power. Easy. These powers include authority normally reserved for legislatures, such as the ability to suspend existing statutes or effectively create new laws, like mask laws, which is what they've done, albeit temporarily and only as needed to respond to the emergency situation, okay? So it's limited in scope. It's not unlimited. It's not a carte blanche like I can do what I want, as I want, how I want. There is some matter of checks and balances, and it's usually going to be by the people. The people who are, in fact, being impacted by these laws are kind of going to dictate how it goes down. Like, I'll give you a very concrete example. At the very beginning of the pandemic, Governor Beshear issued an executive order expanding the powers, ordering the emergency, and so on. And only about 3 or 4 weeks later, there was one time I remember that individuals have gone to church to do their Sunday service, and he put out basically an army of police officers right outside their front gate of the church and wrote down license plate numbers. Everyone has been praising the governor since the day that he started doing everything. That put a stop to his praise and glory. And half of the population went, you went way overboard, because what he did was the police officers that he sent out were writing down license plate numbers of all the individuals. I mean, think about it, right? What's the first thing that comes to mind? Taking down license plates of individuals who are inside the church praying. And what are you going to do with it later? What are you going to do with that information? Well, we never really got to find out. They had this whole excuse of what they're actually going to be doing. Do I trust it? I don't know. But the point is, that is extremely, you're crossing so many boundaries. You're crossing so many lines that have never been crossed, this side of the Mississippi, this side of the Atlantic and the Pacific. Okay. So for the American populace, especially Kentucky residents, they were like, I can't have any of this. And some of them still agreed, but that created a split, and his rise to fame. I mean, there was all these Andy Beshear memes that were floating around. They quickly stopped. They were not shared as much anymore after he did that. And for good reason, because people don't like that level of invasion of privacy. So that makes sense. By the way, before I forget, sorry, I got it so quickly into this topic, I forgot to mention this. Don't forget to like this video, comment below, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell. If you're so inclined, join as a member. I'll be more than happy to have you. You get exclusive memes, and you also have the ability to post what do you call them? The emojis. Sorry, the emojis, and you get a little badge, which is kind of cool. So it separates you. I think F. Lotog is in here. You've probably seen. He's got the 2-month badge. I think he's at 3 months now. I'm not sure, but he's also a moderator, so that's why he's in blue. But if we had a member here that is not a mod, you would see that would have the little hammer, and their name would be in green. So, but anyway, what Governor Beshear did, again, that's an extreme example, but that's what it is. So let's get back to it. Although governors need to be able to respond to emergencies quickly, legislatures have an important role in making sure that those powers are not abused. So that's the other check and balance. And that they do not undermine the separation of powers. Oh, you got to remember, always the separation of powers, right? We have the executive, we have the legislative, and we have the judicial. Now, the judicial is sometimes comes into effect. There was a lawsuit filed against Bashir. Again, we're not going to get into that, but all three play a checks and balances game against this emergency order that the governor has put in place. Which is vital to our democratic system of government. So the separation of powers vital to our democratic system of government. Legislatures exercise several types of checks on state executives' emergency authority in ways that vary between states, and some common features exist as well. So, for example, let's go to Kentucky. Kentucky is kind of interesting. There's no real relevant provision found with respect to emergency orders, but as we've already said in the previous live, they are located in Kentucky statute 39A.100, emergency powers of governor and local chief executive officers. Okay, that's where it comes from, in Kentucky. And if you look at some other states, I mean, I could name, I'm not sure if, no, he's not in here. But Florida, the legislature, for example, in Florida, it's found in statute section 252.36. But it's basically the legislature by concurrent resolution may terminate a state of emergency at any time. So if a governor enacts a state of emergency, which I believe Florida is not so very much harped on it based on what he said. But the interesting thing is that the legislature can step in and say, okay, you know what, if they did, you're done. Like we're taking there's no state of emergency needed anymore. That's the check and balance that they have. In Kentucky, it's probably fairly similar, I would imagine. But unless the governor, you know, at some point when people start to realize that the emergency powers are no longer needed, that the situation has been brought to a halt, it has slowed down, there's absolutely no need for it anymore, and the governor will refuse. Again, it would be a very, very, I think, unreal situation where the governor would be completely aloof and not take away his emergency powers. The legislature would step in and say, okay, buddy, you're done. Okay, take away his emergency powers and let him get back to work to do the things that he's supposed to be doing. So, oh, we got some drama in the chat, it looks like. Keep them in check, Flotog. So good work. Anyway, so as I was saying, that's where the emergency powers come in Kentucky and some other states. This is the website, by the way, if you want to look up your state right here. ncsl.org is the website, and then the link is in the chat box. So for those of you who are watching this on YouTube and not in real time, look over to the live chat box. You'll be able to see it. Click on it, and you will see your own state with where the emergency powers come from. Now, with that out of the way, the article that I mentioned in the title, basically, it came out just a couple hours ago, less than an hour and a half ago. It says that U.S. travelers and commuters will be required to wear masks on nearly all forms of public transportation and inside transportation hubs, according to a late Friday emergency order from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. So this is happening as we speak, okay? The mandate, which goes into effect on Tuesday and applies to most everyone over the age of 2, effectively reverses Trump administration's policy of leaving the choice to local leaders, okay? So Biden has taken the power away from local leaders and said, I'm going to impose my own, and it's going to apply to the entire country on a federal level, right? It allows the executive order issued by President Biden on January 21st, which required passengers to wear face coverings during interstate travel. I don't know if I said allows, but it follows is what I meant. So that was on January 21st. So that now passengers are required to wear face coverings during interstate travel, which was kind of already happening. I don't know why we need an executive order for it, but now it's there. So moving on, I suppose. But now all forms of public transportation. So now if you get on a bus, if you get in a taxi, any Ubers, again, all of those have already been, I thought, at least in place. At least, again, I live in Kentucky. So for me, I have a very limited frame of reference. I don't know if there really are states where you can get in on a bus. Obviously, I know planes. You don't, because planes are, I flew during COVID times. I know what it's like in other states. It's universal. It's 100% of all airlines, as far as I can tell, require it already anyway. So again, I don't see a real justification for this order. Personally, I do feel it's completely unnecessary, but it's there. So under the new CDC policy, which, by the way, remember during the Trump administration, the CDC has kind of merged into the federal government. They've kind of became one and the same. So I'm wondering if that trend is going to continue. And I guess time will tell. Under the new CDC policy, face masks must be worn over the mouth and nose by all travelers on airplanes, ships, trains, subways, buses, taxis, and ride shares, and inside airports, bus, or ferry terminals. Okay. Train and subway stations and seaports as well. Requiring masks on our transportation systems will protect Americans and provide confidence that we can once again travel safely, even during this pandemic, according to the 11-page order signed by Marty Cetron, director of the CDC's Division of Global Migration and Quarantine. Increasing universal making by 15% could prevent the need for lockdowns and reduce associated losses of up to $1 trillion, or about 5% of gross domestic product. Again, I don't understand what exactly they're trying to accomplish here. Again, it feels to me that I don't know. I guess they're trying to maybe patch in whatever holes they think still remain. I don't see it. I think individual businesses have kind of figured out, like, obviously, airlines and buses and taxis and Uber and all that. They've already figured out on their own, this is a very serious thing that needs to be addressed. So the order, it seems completely unnecessary, but I feel, let's see where it goes, I suppose. But you always got to watch out, because the government always wants more, right? So this is kind of like the first domino. This is the first step. It's only been 10 days since Biden has been in office. So time will tell. Government always has the desire to overstep its boundaries. The government always wants to take more than is rightfully theirs or should be theirs. It's a normal inclination of what government does. This is what is inherent in any government, in any country, anywhere in the world. Okay. So the fact that they have put this into effect is just the first step in a domino. The key is to see where this is going to go next. Okay, that's the question. The question is, who is going to, you got to pay attention. You got to pay attention, because there are really two forms that can contest anything that follows from this order. It's the people and the legislature. And the legislature, by the way, don't forget, is fueled by the people. So when the people are fed up with something and they believe that something should not be a law or shouldn't go into effect or yada, 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 something should be reversed, they put pressure on their state representatives, their state legislatures, and so on. And those go back to the Senate, the House of Representatives, and they act on and pass laws that go against these states of emergency that are placed by the governor, or in this case, the president of the United States. So it's going to be very interesting to watch how this is going to unfold again, because so far I don't believe that order has really done anything at all that hasn't already been done. So it's kind of redundant, but we have to watch what is going to come next. What is going to be the next thing that he sets his sights on, I suppose, in his cabinet. I'm not I mean, I think you and I all understand. He's simply an individual. He has an entire delegation that he relies on. Everything he does, it's not his own opinion, of course. So it's all about his cabinet, his administration, and his delegation that are going to be dictating where this thing is headed next. So we got to watch, pay attention, and we'll see where it goes. There is a state-by-state guide that I found for mask requirements, face mask requirements. And of course, I looked up Kentucky first. Governor Andy Beshear's executive order requiring face coverings for people in situations that represent a high risk of COVID-19 transmission, including most public settings. Okay, there it is. So Kentucky was already pretty much on par, if not beyond, President Biden's mandate. The mandate was issued in July, has been extended monthly, with the current order in force through at least February 2nd. Children ages 5 and under are exempt. So the federal one, there's a direct start, I guess. Ages 2 and above under the federal mandate, whereas in Kentucky it was ages 5 and above. So children that were starting Tuesday in Kentucky, if your child was not under the mandate before, let's say the child is 3 or 4, they did not have to wear a mask under Kentucky law. Now they have to wear a mask if the child is over the age of 2. So and interestingly, 37 states, including DC and Puerto Rico, have mandated face coverings in public. So, of course, the very, very enticing question, what happens if I violate the mask mandate indicated by the governor, or now the president, starting on Tuesday? What if I choose not to follow the mandate that they have ordered upon me, right? Because now it's a mandate. A mandate is a law, and a law, as we all know, must be followed, right? Well, that's a great question, and this is what I think about that. When you have an emergency situation, it behooves you to follow the rules, because here's what happens. The majority of people are going to be following these rules. This is pretty much a given. We've already seen that. We're not going to see any different. You're not going to be able to walk into a shop right now without a mask, and because you will be looked at funny. It's just the way it is. And I'm trying not to take sides here, because here's the very, very key aspect of it. You probably will never be charged with a crime. It is my sincere opinion, because you may be charged with trespassing if you refuse to leave. Again, but if you're simply asked to leave when you're not having your mask on, you're not being asked to leave by a police officer. You're being asked to leave by a shop owner, by a flight attendant. These are people. They're not government officials. These are people working for a business who do not want you to put their other customers in jeopardy, their other customers' health and safety in jeopardy. So what they're doing is completely reasonable and rational. Now, if we ever get to a point where you are being charged with failing to, wear a mask and being arrested for that, which I have not seen. I have not seen that anywhere. I mean, right now, show me an article where somebody has been picked up because they walked into a store without a mask. Nobody asked them to leave, but they called the cops, and the cops showed up and arrested that individual, put him in handcuffs, put him in the back of the cruiser, sent him to jail, released him the next morning, and now they have pending charges. Show me that case. Show me that article. I challenge you, YouTube. And I don't think you're going to be able to. I don't think that exists in the fact scenario that I described. Okay, it's a very, very, very important distinction between you coming into a store, being asked to leave, and refusing to leave, because now you're no longer violating a law. You are violating that shopkeep's policy of wearing masks, which is in accordance with the federal government, but there is a pandemic going around, so it is justified. I do not see, I mean, I see the extremes that people are talking about. They are eroding our constitutional rights. This is a trespass and all this, but and honestly, it seems that it goes both ways. It goes both ways. The the constitutional rights that we have to be in that store, if you will, is being eroded. But the key is to watch when that erosion crosses boundaries. So far, I do not see that it has crossed any real boundaries. Okay. So if you are refusing to leave an airplane because you have failed to wear a mask, I've seen that article, because you failed to wear a mask and you're refusing to put your mask back on, what do you expect? It's not, they are trying to get you off that plane because now you're trespassing against the airplane's policy. You are refusing to leave the premises because the airplane company has a policy of mandatory masks, again, in accordance with now federal, previously state level, or maybe their own just internal policy without any justification, solely that it's just a pandemic. The rules are there to help. The key is to watch when they start crossing boundaries. When they start crossing boundaries, that is when action must be taken. And you have to watch for those first signals of when those boundaries are crossed. Once those boundaries are crossed, all bets are off and action needs to be taken in the opposite direction. Hence the checks and balances system that we have. It's an idealistic approach. I do realize that, but I have given it a lot of thought. And I do see what both sides are trying to accomplish. The only problem is when you become an extremist. And on one end, you have the extreme, all masks are bad. We do not need this. There's no pandemic. The numbers are a lie. And then you have the other extreme. You must have a mask on at all times. People are dying by the millions. If you don't wear a mask, you're putting my grandmother at risk. Those are the extreme positions. And what I urge you to do is find a soft medium. Use your head, because there's no need to take extreme positions. Find the middle ground. Find the safe spot that you understand. You got to watch it, though. You can't just see. People are very, they live in the moment. It seems like a lot of times they live in the moment. And it's very unfortunate that they can't broaden their vistas a little bit and to see exactly what is happening and how it needs to happen and what is going to be happening as it unfolds. The key is, again, these emergency orders have full justification. I don't see a reason why until a certain, again, I don't know these numbers because this is not my field and I've just been watching it from the side. When the numbers reach a certain plateau where people are finally going to start coming back to normal life, vaccinations are going to be a lot more people are going to be vaccinated. I mean, that is the time where these emergency orders they will disappear. That's what is supposed to happen. And this is what I caution you. Watch for those. If we start to see that there's going to be, because as I've said, governments have a very, very strong innate desire to expand and overreach and grab more, right? That's what I've been talking about. So when you see that these governors in your state, after, let's say, the pandemic is coming to an end and it's all over and the end is nigh, and they're continuing to overreach and they're trying to say, this and that, well, then that's going to be a problem now, isn't it? Or whatever laws they put in outside of the mask mandates, we have to pay attention. We have to pay attention. And it's our job as the people, because this is exactly what I am. I may be a lawyer, but I am a person. I am part of the people. I am not government. I'm not part of government. I do not work for a government agency. No government agency pays me anything. Okay. I am an individual just like you guys. I do this in jury trials. I tell the people, you do understand, the judge works for the government, the clerk, the sheriff, the bailiff, the prosecutor, the police officer. Every single person in this room is a government employee. Except for me, my client, and you guys. We're the people. This is why juries are so powerful. They're the check and balances on a system that otherwise has no checks on it. So that's the check and balance that I do in the courtroom with my clients with their individual cases. This is the checks and balances system that we're doing against the federal government, the state government, local governments, and that we'll have to continue and watch for. So that's pretty much what all I have to say about that. Oh, I did say I was going to talk about Katrina very briefly. So Hurricane Katrina Hurricane Katrina, if you recall, 2005 is when it happened. 2005. And there was a state of emergency. There was a state of emergency. Now, did it go national? Of course not. Why? Because Hurricane Katrina struck Louisiana, New Orleans, more specifically. So Governor Jeb Bush declared a state of emergency on August 25th, 2005. Where's the problem? Tell me where the problem is. There was an emergency situation. Once it was resolved, the emergency order was taken off. That's it. So this is a very, very long Hurricane Katrina all across the country and of course, the world as well. So again, I think you all would agree, unless you're an extremist, which is okay. If you're an extremist, you can hold on to your position as long as you want. I don't buy into it on either side. You know, on either side of the spectrum, I think you need to look at this a lot more reasonably and a lot more clearly, and that way you will be able to see the reality of the situation rather than confirming your own reality that you already have ingrained within you. So that's going to help tremendously. But most people, I understand, don't like to do that. They hold on to their own convictions, and that's fine. Such is life. I think that's what makes life interesting. So with that being said, I think, don't forget to like this video, comment below, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell to be notified anytime I go live. And of course, when I'm going to be posting the next video, which you all I know are itching and dying to get a hold of. And don't worry. I'll feed you. Don't worry. Just give me time. I'll probably post it, like I said, next month or something like that. Okay. So anyway, I don't know. Let's go to questions, I suppose. The chat has been on fire, and I've been ignoring pretty much all of it just because I wanted to focus. I wanted to focus on the lecture. I wanted to make sure that I got all the information out. But what sorts of questions do you guys have? Okay. Chat is going haywire. You mentioned jury members being regular citizens. If your jury has government employees, do you try to get them removed? If they're a police officer, yes. If they're some other type of government employee, I really don't care because they're still a citizen at the end of the day. Again, they may work for some part of the system, but I don't think I've actually ever had a scenario where I had like a pure government employee I had a cop a couple of times. I mean, I have friends of cops. Those are unavoidable. My best friend, or like my husband's best friend, is a cop. I've had that before. My husband is a cop, and this other officer comes to the house all the time. I've seen that. Again, those don't really bother me so much at all because when they see and hear the evidence in the case, I don't think it's going to matter what camp they belong in. I don't take loser cases to trial. What was the longest pandemic? This one has been 2 years. Well, no, it has not been 2 years, Tammy. It's going to be 1 year in March 13th, I think. It's going to be the 1 year anniversary on March 13th. The pandemic, the Spanish flu pandemic, because the dissemination of information was probably rather slow, I would imagine it lasted at least a couple of years at its height. I don't know the exact facts on that. Again, I guess look it up. I'm not 100% sure. You can look it up. States have medical exemptions in their mask mandate orders. I've read many. What's your insight on medical exemptions for a federal mask mandate? I don't know the answer to that. I don't have the facts. If there are medical exemptions, then I suppose that's okay. I don't see a reason why it would be problematic, because a medical exemption is something, as long as you can provide proof for it, and it's truly something that is necessary. Again, it's I always try to avoid, and I have a client currently that has been arrested for refusing to leave the premises, arguing that she is an ADA member, but failing to provide any type of information. Look, this is what I have to say about that, by the way. If you have an ADA card, truly do, and you have an exemption to this mask mandate, for the love of God, I know you don't have to, but if you read anything about the ADA rules, show the card to them and they will leave you alone. Yeah, I know you don't have to. The law says you don't have to, but there's absolutely no need to be a prick about it and create a scene in a public place. Okay? Show them the card, show them that you are exempt from wearing a mask for such and such. I have a very severe asthma. Masks restrict my breathing. That's it. You literally just saved yourself. And if they still ask you to leave, well, you may have a lawsuit on your hands. Isn't that better? You just got kicked out of an establishment where you legitimately showed that you have a medical reason to not wear a mask. They still kicked you out. I think they violated a whole lot more rights than if you just put on a show and try to argue that I don't have to show you my card. I don't have to show you my card because the law said that. It makes you look like an idiot. Okay, let's just be fair. Let's just be honest. Look at the facts. Every fact scenario is different. Every fact scenario is different. Oh Lord, I'm not answering that question. That's silly. It's not a HIPAA violation if you simply, like I said, you don't even have to show the card. Explain it to them. Talk. Use your mouth. Use your words. A lot of people fail to recognize the simple basic precept that if you use your words, people are understanding. And if they're being unreasonable, they may pay the price and the ultimate price of a lawsuit and so on. Again, don't forget to like this video, comment below, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, or join as a member if you're so inclined. So I know it creates content. Everybody wants to create content, free content for YouTube. I was refused my right to be at a store because, and then I watch these videos and I'm like, okay, you were being extremely unreasonable yourself. Tone it down. Okay. You're at about a 5 or 6, bring it down to a 2 before it gets to an 8 or 9. Or a 10 when police showed up, and like my client who got picked up on something that I don't believe would have ever happened if she simply explained, look, I have this medical condition. This is the issue. And rather than keeping it close to the heart and not revealing anything at all about it. Hey, Adrian. And courts are not the answer for everything. You're absolutely right, Dana. I completely agree. Sometimes we have become such a what's the right pronunciation of this word? Litigious, litigious? No, litigious. I think we litigate everything. We've become such a litigious society. We want to litigate everything. We want to sue everybody. We just want free money. Whatever happened to the American dream of owning a house with a white picket fence, having the job of your dreams, having a steady flow of income, a steady family, kids, your own home. Whatever happened to those dreams? Now everybody's dreaming about suing the crap out of everybody else. It's very saddening. I know my reality is also very limited in that sense, but I've really come across that in recent years that everybody I get phone calls like, a doctor did an operation on me. All right. This is a medical malpractice example. Doctor did an operation on me. It didn't work or something. And it didn't even say that. It was the doctor performed an operation on me. I'm sorry. It wasn't a phone call. This was a lead I got. Doctor performed an operation, and then they basically they went to another doctor, and now they want to talk to a lawyer already. and I get a lot of these. Again, this is maybe a poor example, which is just the most recent one that I can think of. But I get these a lot, and I'm like, the damage may be minimal, and especially when you go through surgery. When you go through surgery, you are explained that there are so many things that could go wrong. Everybody just, as soon as something goes wrong, boom, their first instinct is, let's go sue. Let's go take this person to court, and maybe I can make some money off of this. Again, it's very unfortunate, and I really don't like it, what our society has become. And it's I don't know where we're headed. People love the drama. I agree, Fabled Fantasy. People love the drama. It's very unfortunate, but so it is. Dennis O'Rourke. Oh, by the way, thank you for the $5. I need to be calling these out. Dennis O'Rourke. Oh, it was both of these were you. I'm so sorry. Thank you for another $5, man. I have a written excuse, he says, from my doctor's office that I'm not to wear a mask. Is that just as good as an ADA card? Tell us more. I don't know. Again, I just know of the ADA card, that people carry that around. But if you have a note from a doctor's office, that might be just as effective, now that I think about it. I've never had that scenario pop up, so I don't know exactly how that would play out, Dennis. But I say use it until proven otherwise. What's it called? Ask forgiveness, not permission, basically. So I don't see a reason why that shouldn't work. Absolutely. What are your thoughts, says Anthony? Thank you for the $5, by the way. What are your thoughts on stores that accept that they are essential, in quotes? Are they no longer a private business, or are they now a public entity? Oof, that is a deep, deep question. I am not equipped to answer that at all. But when you are an essential business, are you now somehow under the purview of government? I don't think so. I think you're just gaining a benefit without the cost. But it is kind of a separation, right? Even businesses have a race now. One is essential, the other is non-essential. It's kind of scary. Thanks, Junkie 101 Jesus. I really appreciate it. I'm sorry. There's so many questions I'm paying attention, but 5, that's really funny, Dennis. So what other questions do you all have? Because it was very hard to keep up. Let's see. They kind of fizzled. I don't think I saw any more up at the top. This is a very, very, like I said, unique topic. We're not really specifically talking about law stuff. And the ADA is the American Disability Association. I'm sorry, I kept saying it because I know most of you are familiar with it. How can government implement and enforce mandates created by an executive order? I talked about that in the beginning, Eddie. Legislatures are not the only branch of government that can create law. That's exactly what emergency orders are for. And legislatures are the checks and balance on it. American Disability Act. I'm sorry, what did I say? I may have gotten it wrong. My brain is not operating at full capacity today. And see, here we go. Here's an extremist, Tasman. So holding on to your rights makes you an idiot. That's not what I said. I told you, holding on to your rights may be an extreme position. So you can hold on to your rights as long as you want. The only problem is if it comes a point where you're crossing boundaries, that's where the problems arise. Yeah, no problem, Eddie. I'm sorry, I didn't know that. Thank you, Carol. Did we, the people, give the government powers? No, the statute did. And the statute was passed by the legislature. Well, I guess kind of technically, when you really think about it, because the legislature is powered by the people, allegedly. Again, you know, we know that it's not always the case. It's powered by money most of the time, unfortunately. But the legislature passed these laws, and they gave the executive power more leeway. So did we, the people, give the government these powers? Kind of, sort of, in a roundabout way, yes. So how can government make power that we, the people, never had it to give? Well, that's what I just said. So what do you think of First Amendment audit guys? I've talked about this extensively. Yes, I followed some of their channels. I don't watch them so much anymore. I used to have more time on my hands. But I understand what they do. I like their work. And what about medical exceptions? I talked about that. We're not talking about stocks today, Meg. How about we start with Article 1 of the Constitution? You can take an extreme position. I'm not going to play ball. Tomorrow, upon returning to Canada, it will cost $2,000 per person passenger. Why? That I don't understand why it's going to be costing $2,000 to cross the borders. Salonist parlor. Yeah, I agree, Randy. It's entertaining how political this issue has become. There is no politics involved. People are making it political unnecessarily. A DUI question from Ryan. How can you refuse field sobriety test upon a traffic stop and an automatic blood draw? If it's mandatory, then I guess you can't refuse. But always refuse is my policy, except in those 13 states. You know me. Those of you who have been on my channel before. Can you please answer my question? Let's see, Joanna, Philip. You posted a lot of stuff. I don't know where your question is. Can a cop sit on a private road and speed trap on a driveway? Yes, yes. I don't see a reason why not. On a private driveway, probably not. Yeah, thanks, Flotog. Good reminder, too. Don't forget to like this video, comment below, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell. We are probably... Canada, new rule for airline passenger? I don't know what you're talking about, Solanas. I think that's probably fake news. So I would ignore that. Which 13 states can we not refuse? I know Nebraska is one of them. I don't know the other 12. You can look it up. It's all on the internet, Anthony. I want to make sure my sound is off when I turn this on. Watching myself. Okay. All right. It looks like chat is dying the death of 1,000 razors. So I am going to stop the video right here. This is going to be a short one, but a very, very good one. So I hope you all enjoyed it. I really thank you for coming. I'm really, really happy to revisit this topic. I think the thoughts that I expressed will shed light on where we truly are as a nation when it comes to these mask mandates and governor orders. Okay. So again, the key is not to take the extreme positions that you all have seen. You know, on the one side, like I said, you have the extreme right of the Constitution trumps everything, including everything that ever will be and come of this, versus the extreme left. If you don't wear a mask, you're murdering me kind of thing. Those are the two extremes. And I urge you to kind of look beyond the politics and look at the issue from a neutral, non-political perspective. And I guarantee I guarantee that you are going to be able to sound a lot more intelligent when you talk about the topic. You will become a lot more well-versed about the topic. You will understand it better because you will not be taking, someone else's position. Because when you do take a political position, it's not your position. You're borrowing someone else's just because they're on the same political spectrum as you. And that doesn't seem very fair, especially when you're trying to talk about an issue, about the reality of the issue, rather than, oh, what side of the spectrum am I on, and which argument do I have to buy, and which category do I have to fall into. So I think it would behoove everyone if they were to think about the issue a little bit more carefully before taking on a position, as I have seen so very rampantly. So I really appreciate you guys coming. We almost had like 200 viewers for this. I was shocked. Like I didn't think it's going to be that popular, honestly, but you guys are awesome. And I thank you so much for coming and listening. And hopefully we can keep this going. We can keep this going. We're going to keep this going. And February 6th. Okay. So the next live, assuming everything goes according to plan, February 6th, I will be streaming. I will stream on February the 6th. And then the next time I'll stream, since the 13th, I will not be here. The 20th. I think February 20th will be the next stream. So February 20th and February 6th. I look forward to seeing you all there. And then thank you all so much. Next Saturday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern time, right here on YouTube. The DUI guy will be back. Okay? Have a great rest of your weekend, everyone, and enjoy your Saturday. I love you guys. Thank you so much. Don't forget to like this video, comment below, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, and join as a member if you're so inclined. All right. Bye now. Peace.